In our old leaf clamp, we've got some serious fungus. Oh, I have absolutely no idea what they are. They are the size of dinner plates, size of bigger than my feet. Isn't that incredible? They're about a good foot or more across. I'm going to have to look up what they are now, see if they're edible. Well, even if they are, I ain't eating them, but that's not the point. I'd like to know. I had some in my old partner Gordon in Italy. Oh dear, we had this. It was called fungi. I didn't eat it. I just had a taste, and Gordon ate it. He had it. Give him the shits for 2 days. The Royal Horticultural Society have said we are in crisis. The industry is lacking youngsters coming through. This is Eggleston Hall Gardens, and over the next 12 months we're going to take you on a journey of what it's like to run a nursery garden. Good morning for, what is it, week 47. Just noticed the sweet peas are out today. They've, what is it? It's about the 19th of November. And you can see the first leaves are, well, some of them, the second set of leaves. You know, when you spring sow sweet peas, you tend to let them get up to about 2 or 3 pairs of leaves, and then you pinch out the growing point here. But with autumn ones, we don't really bother with autumn sown. There's no need. We don't need to strengthen up the root. They've got plenty of time. They're not just going to fly away in one long leader. They will gradually develop. There really aren't many non-runners here. There's a tray there that's completely full. It's about 1 in 20. Some varieties are better than others, but they're all pretty good germination. In the past we've grown sweet peas and people have said, oh, I'm not paying that, I can get a pot of them that were sown in April. 10 plants for £2.99, whereas we charge, I think, I can't remember what it was, 95 pence a pot, something like that. You cannot compare the two. They are fantastic, and we've had so many people this summer that have come back to us that have bought them in this last year and said, will we be doing them again? So we are. And you can choose your colour rather than just have a mixed bag. The cordylines are overwintering in here. They've been tidied up. Some of the lower leaves that were browned off have been taken, and they should be fine in here over the winter. It's a beautiful morning. I am going out on a picnic in a little while, even though it's only 4 degrees. We've decided that there are 1 or 2 things locally, because we get a lot of visitors, and they come up because we have a lot of plants that are unusual. but also if you make a weekend of it, there are other places to see around and about. So in the last few weeks that we're doing these videos, this series, I want to show you one or two of the highlights of the area, natural highlights. I'm not very good at sort of museums and things really, but they're not my thing. Anyway, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, all I've done here is I've cleared this bed, these two beds here where we normally put the maiden trees, and I've just cleared some of the maiden trees from last year just onto a swag down there just until they get processed. And they will join up with the main sale tree this year. And yeah, so all I have to do is clear them off. I have to wrap the drippers around the swag so I don't capture them with anything, or so they're out the way for the pressure washer.
I'm doing a blow job. Well, I'm using the blower and getting all of these leaves up. Now it's autumn, so I just blow all these into a pile and I have to rake them up myself and put them into bins, and then they're going in the churchyard in our leaf mould pile. They'll break down nicely for next year. Now we're going to put these in the leaf pump. Wow, this bucket is huge. It needs to be pruned back soon. It's getting filled up again, this one. Sorry. I'm just trying to tramp it at the back. There we go.
What was that you just said, Liz? We can put up with Clara's noise. I do hope you're referring to the leaf blow, otherwise that's really quite harsh. Right, what I'm doing up here, it's got this time of year when we start potting everything. What we also have to do whenever we clean the beds, clear the beds, we have to get them all clean and pressure washed ready for next year. So these two beds here, where we normally have the maiden trees, that's the fruit and the ornamentals. Sometime in the next 6 weeks probably we should be getting our bare root maiden trees, and whenever we get them potted on, we bring them up here just to sit and grow on for the year, and then this time next year they'll be ready to join up with our sales trees. And all I have to do here is, first I have to go through, and all these ones where they have the drippers, we have to wrap them up because otherwise they just get in the way and they're really easy to break off. So they just want to be out the way for the pressure washer and when I'm scraping the bed off and brushing it down. But as you see, wherever you get sort of the plants at when they're on drippers, you just get all this liverwort on the mypex. So before we pressure wash, because it wouldn't really be very nice if leaves just came and have to pressure wash all this because they end up with that just blowing all the rubbish everywhere. So what I'll do first is go over the bed and just scrape off all this liverwort and all the other stuff. Really handy, this hoe for doing jobs like this. And just scrape it off like that, and then what I've been doing, because I can't think that we've done it for the last couple of years, I'm taking the beds, the edges back a bit, because although we do trim the beds, you can't trim them right down to the mypex, so the grass always sort of encroaches on the bed a bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm just scraping the edge back a bit, just to tidy things up and make it a bit easier for John's trimming, because if the grass gets too close to the pots, what sometimes can happen, we can end up getting trimmed pots and different things. It's normally with Malcolm with his eyesight, but it will make it easy when it's trimmed like this, but for trimming. And then, yeah, once I've got this stripped off, all this scraped off, I'll sweep it down, then it'll look like that one. When it's pressure washed, the beds they probably look nicer than when they've actually got plants on them, don't they, Lisa? It'd be nice if the nursery was empty and just clean and pressure washed down. But...
Right, what we're doing here, these have cured now, they've been here a few days. Well, they haven't cured, but they've hardened enough to move. And there's always a bottom edge on them where the water drains through the mixture and it pools at the base. So it sort of sits in this. Actually, if you come around this side, you'll see better, Thomas. You can see there's a mixture. So all we do is just use a little bar or any implement and just scrape up. You can actually. And you just rough in that surface. And that gives it a much more natural edge to it. And just work your way around it, like this. You can even just run it on its edge like this. And you find that the mixture just wears itself off. You see how much you don't want that sort of bottom setting. And then just make sure the holes are all the way through. Tidy up the edge of those. As I say, it's hardened, but what you have to have here now is it to cure, and that means it cures all the way through and lightens up. But yeah, so that's how you just tidy them up. Just clean up the bottom edge and clean up the holes. That's it.
Oh, well done. No puns about cleaning up the bottom or the holes.
Yeah.
Should be proud.
Oh yeah. It's funny really. Oh, there's people. What do you think, Pep? Is there people there? Yeah. Every morning, she just comes downstairs and waits by the door. She's a funny dog. The other two aren't bothered anymore. They really don't like it here because people pet them and fiddle with them. But her, every morning, she's there, tail wagging, ready to go. Sometimes she waits till she can hear me putting my boots on. And she just sits here all day. Sits here all day. Just watching. like a little shadow. This is the valley of the Tees. To the left there we have Eggleston. It's always windy up here. Down through the valley it goes maybe 40 miles all the way up onto the moors. That's the Tees in the bottom. We're going to move along now to a little waterfall. Over there is the villages of Mickleton, and it goes further around that rise over there is the village of Middleton in Teesdale. It probably is the middle town of Teesdale, probably where it's got its name from. It was serious lead mining all around here. This is low force. It is a series of waterfalls, and it's quite spectacular, especially after a lot of rain. The brownness of the water is really just the peat out of the moorland. It is a most fantastic place. Very, very dramatic. The river here comes around an island, divides into two sections. This is the shallower section. So we're here having a sandwich or two. In a minute I'm going to show you a little bridge called the Winch Bridge. About in the mid 1700s, the only thing that crossed for the river, and people needed to cross because there were lead miners that lived in Holwick, which is on the other side of the river, and they wanted to get over to Middleton to work in the lead mines this side. So they had this 2-foot wide wooden plank bridge across that was held across by chains. It had one hand rail or one hand chain on one side only. In about I can't remember when it was, about 1830, something like that. 9 people were on the bridge and the bridge gave way. It was called a human death trap, but it didn't stop them crossing on it. Anyway, it was rebuilt, and the bridge we're about to show you is the rebuilt bridge. And instead of being made from chains, it's made from iron rods. Now all the dogs are past, we can go across it properly. It's alright. Hockham was scrapping with another dog. So there you are. This is the Winch Bridge. It's made of these iron rods rather than chain, and they're bolted together. There's a metal safety guard, and then it's just wooden. You can look right through. There's not much more to it than that, really. It is beautiful here, and it goes on up there like these rapids for a good half a mile. If you wobble around a bit, it shakes quite well. I think it's just recently had an upgrade in the coat of paint, because it was getting a little bit on the ropey side. It is lovely walking along here, coming away from the rapids and the Winch Bridge. The river sort of bottlenecks along, it's quite deep there, and then it opens out into this beautiful, shallower but much wider section. It's very difficult to see this in the summer because of the leaves on the trees, but looking at it now, it's absolutely gorgeous. The sunlight is spilling across. Over the way there, you head towards the Lake District. This is just so beautiful and peaceful. If you get away from the Winch Bridge and you get away from the sort of the honeypot area of it, there's hardly ever anyone around these parts. They're just so lovely, and it's pure woodland and riverside. There's a bunch of arse-ups there. Arse-up ducks. Little things, look how those beech trees just sweep up the bank there. It's just so beautiful. We were just looking at this tree that is still alive. It's green at the top, and then it comes down, and I'll show you its roots. There are its roots. They're sticking into the ground, but protruding out. Isn't that amazing? They're deep. The tree itself is like it's on stilts, but it's quite alive. I don't think I've ever seen much like that. And that was that. It is a beautiful day. It's the sort of day that makes you think retirement seems quite a good idea. Eee, look at that lovely rainbow. It probably means it's going to rain. Maybe it's passed us by. Who knows? Anyway, I've got more troughs to carry on with. A few old pots there. Even they look a bit sad. End of year look. Probably because they're covered with like wet, rotting leaves. I don't know what is going on in here.
Oh, you sound cheery this morning, Malcolm.
I am actually quite cheery.
Are you?
Yeah.
They changed their medication.
Yeah, they've upped the dose. Go on. What are you up to?
Yeah, well, I'm just carrying on, just tidying stuff up for the winter and just putting these sedums up on the wall like I'd seen last week. These are just a little alpine sedum. Little sedum Horticultural Coca-Cola is the cultivar name. And although I don't know whether it's still classed as sedum, this one, or whether they've changed its name. What I'm doing, just tidying them up, take the shoulder off and getting rid of all these slug eggs that can really cause a bit of a problem come spring. might then cause a problem over the winter as well, but they're quite rife. Because they've been sat on the alpine bench, and you can see now, because there's direct contact, like the contact straight onto the black plastic, they're saturated as well, so they don't want to sit there for the winter regardless.
No.
So I thought it's best I'll bring them through here, just tie them up, and then I'll plop them straight on the wall. So it's a lovely little sedum, this one. It's a little creeping sort of alpine one. It's
right.
stoloniferous.
What's that mean?
It's got it grows by stolons.
Right, is it?
Do the little running bit.
That's a funny word, that stolon.
Yeah.
I always thought it had something to do with poo. No,
Do you not get a stolonoscopy when you get like past the side of 50?
I don't know. I'm not sure what one is. I don't know why I thought that. Never mind. Stolonifera. Right.
Yeah, these ones will just get tidied up, sit the winter in these pots, then come the spring, they'll probably get potted into something slightly bigger.
Yeah.
Because it is quite a nice little spreading thing, maybe just into a 1 or 1.5. Just try to keep it small enough to fit in little cracks and crevices.
Yeah. These are some of our real alpine types, aren't they?
Yeah.
Again, they've got to be done. They're doing quite well. They've done really well, actually.
It's worth people knowing they're like 2 years from being propagated, aren't they, those ones?
Yeah.
So you can see the size of them.
But that's going to be lovely if we put a few of these in those alpine, you know, those alpine troughs we're making. They're going to look absolutely incredible. Yeah. I'm going to have to move my lathe, you know. I'm going to have to build a shed at Sunnyside just to house the blooming lathe. Either that or I'll have to sell it, because I don't really do much turning now.
Have you used it at all since you bought it? Have you done?
Oh yeah, I did it. I did quite a lot of stuff, but I'm using it. I'm using a small lathe, a jeweller's lathe, a watchmaker's lathe, for doing things on my ships, the model ships I make.
Toy boats.
Yeah. Yeah. Look at this. I did a few really nice pots, actually. We've got some at home. Oh, there. That was the last one. I think that was one that went a little bit wrong, but it was done out of a bit of elm. We have some elm up there that's like 100 years old. Got absolutely nothing to do with plants. Right, these are last year's little alpines. Jan is just doing them, but because he's camera shy, we're going to do them. So you get them out of the 7 centimetre pot. You take off the top, the shoulder as we do. You just want to get rid of any lichen. You can see all that shite around there. You really don't want that on there. And these are going to make beautiful little plants for sale, but we're going to just move them up one stage. We'll take them over here. We're using a 9 centimetre pot that's a little bit bigger. It's not a 1 centimetre pot. It's a 9 centimetre one, but it's slightly more squat. So we're just going to put those in there. If you look over there, you'll see a tray that Jan has prepared of a different variety. I think they're probably saxifrages. So we're just going to put these in there. These are the last spring were the tiny little rosettes that we were taking cuttings of a few weeks back, a couple of months back. And then we're just going to dress round the top and get the gravel or the grit nicely underneath the mound, because it will spread out and root through that grit. There you are, Jan, I've done one for you. If we just come through here, a year ago, they would have been at this stage. You see there?
Mm.
And that's how they look a year on. It's one would think they would go out at around 395, something like that now. But they are. It's very worthwhile doing.
Excellent.
Lisa just starts it anyway, whether I know it or not. So in here, we've got some of these things. I know when we did these back in August, somebody else must have done these. Oh no, I did. It's very rare that I actually put a date on them. I tell everybody else to, but I forget myself. We'll take these out, because once you finish those others, Jan, you can do these.
Yeah.
Right. Go through here. And all we're going to do with these, there's no point leaving them in here now. And we can use the pots that we... let's take one of these out. So it's just a question of giving them a bit of a knock and separating them out. And considering these were done in August, they'll just, God, that compost wet.
Yeah.
Let's dry out. So there you are, same thing again. It looks like a little Achillea. I've never actually read the thing. Yeah, Achillea brachyphylla. And they'll all just go into a tray and it'll all be done. But there's several of them in you can see here. They're just so easy to do from cuttings. And we just separate them out. We may as well get them on rooted, because if we leave it too much longer, the roots are going to continue growing and they're just going to be, we're going to end up tearing them. And so we might as well, there's a little one there now, you see a little pisser. I just put that together with another one and oh, that's fun. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you. And this is what the finished ones look like. There are some wonderful little saxifrages. These ones are even starting to flower. It's a little beauty. They'll grow on. They just keep rooting and growing on right through the winter. There is something nice about these cushion alpines. They do a job in troughs and in crevices, rock gardens, between paving stones even, in a garden that makes the place look alive. There are one or two varieties that get right out of hand. I can't remember their names quite now, but there's one of them. Oh, it's a little bugger. There are hundreds here to still to prick out and pot on. Seems strange that I shan't be doing this again after all these years. Of course, there's a great load up at the top of the garden as well from the previous year, so they've still got to be dealt with. As we seriously get into winter, look, she thinks it's time for mouse boxes again, which we will have to put along and set up again. Unfortunately, because of the uncertainty in the current climate, we know that if we're going to open up everything in the towns and amongst families for Christmas. However, they are talking now that they're going to have to shut down again afterwards to control this virus. That means we're going to have to furlough our staff for longer. We cannot get by on uncertainty. We just can't. We cannot prepare for it with it. So it's a problem. So it's probable that we won't get any or very few staff back until after Christmas and into the new year. Then we will have to have them back because there's going to be so much work potting. There will be literally thousands of plants to pot up and prepare for the spring. The borders and some of the normal routine maintenance work, that's just going to have to go by for the time being. You know, it's a time of crisis, I suppose. Although some people keep saying it's no such crisis. I don't know. I can only handle what's in front of me. The rights and wrongs of lockdown, I don't know. It's beyond my pay grade or understanding or intellectual ability. I can only respond to what's here. Anyway, that's the way it has to be. I'm not going to let it get us down. As I say, it's a beautiful morning. The grafts, lastly, that came up from Matthew, they're all sitting nicely under that wall. They'll sit there for the rest of the winter because we're getting into winter now. It's late November, so we've got 3 months. Salmisias, they're doing okay. I think you might remember me potting those up a few weeks back. These are the osteospermums that we did as cuttings, or Clara did, I think, earlier on. They're looking nice little plants, those. Broken. When I say broken, you can see they've got lots of shoots coming out from the base, which is what we like. To encourage this sometimes, like we do with spring-sown sweet peas or other plants, we can stop them, pinch the growing point out. But these are breaking away. It's fine. You get another few months on those and they're going to be magnificent plants. Irises, well, I fucking hate irises. We'll ignore the irises. Empty beds. I think at the beginning of the year, when we started this, there was a lot of pressure washing going on, and this is what I mean by coming full circle. These beds are emptying. It's I cannot overemphasize the fact that everything is so cyclical. We just go through the cycle year in, year out. It's kind of comforting. Some people might say it's boring, but I don't think so. You can see down there the crocuses are starting to really push through now. Many of the bulbs are really waking up. They're just poking up. They'll cope with any snow or frost. Yeah. Keeping an eye on them for the mouse boxes, and that's really important. The netting is as much for squirrels as it is for rabbits. It's not going to stop a squirrel, but it is a deterrent. Again, the gaps amongst the trees. And we're waiting a load of fruit trees and that have been dug out the fields to arrive. Fruit trees, some ornamentals, flowering cherries. These are maiden trees that we pot up, but you'll see those later. We've got here the purple berries, of Calycarpa. They're so lovely. And then there is the white berried form. I think that's called Leucocarpa. And this one is Calycarpa profusion. You don't see the white form very often. I think that one's Calycarpa japonica. Whereas the other one is, oh, what is it? Bodineri, I think. I'll caption it for you. A few weeks ago, Elizabeth and Clara were sorting out trilliums. You can see already, even though it's late November, one or two of them are poking their little heads through. They might wish they hadn't in a while. I wish I wasn't poking my little head through. I'd rather stay in bed, to be honest. Read the paper. Honesty. Not only is it a great quality, it's a lovely plant. And usually it has round seed heads, and flower arrangers love it. This is a different type. This is the ordinary honesty, lunaria. This is round. This is lunaria rediviva, and it has all the same qualities. A nice flower, it grows easily, but it has these elliptical flower heads, so seed heads. They're very, very papery, and the flower arrangers, they really like it. I think I prefer the traditional, but then I'm a traditionalist, so you know, there you go. Some sad old Astrantia flowers hanging on for grim death. So much stuff looks sad at the moment. We have lots and lots of ferns here. We have ferns in one or two places, and they're going to have to go up on the wall. We find they get too wet and stanky around here, so we're going to get them moved away.
Then me curly Sues.
Your curly Sues?
Curly Sues. Yeah, so these are the few lily bulbs we've got for this year. We don't tend to do many because lilies, we normally struggle to sell them in pots as flowers. They're not really that popular anymore. No. Over the last few years we've found that people aren't really that interested, but we had this variety last year and it did actually sell quite well, so I've just tried this one again. I don't have a clue why it's called Curly Sue, because it's just a big open pink flower.
Is it scented? It is, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably.
I have a feeling that I was walking up the path and I kept wafting it.
You kept wafting it, did you?
Yeah, niffing it.
And
come on.
Well, these are just some that we had left from last year, so I've just broken these out of their pot and I'll just restart them again. But we tend to put 3 in a pot, because you can see there it's actually got some quite nice healthy roots left. Just about halfway down, and what we do is sit them on the sides so that they don't rot from the inside out, and also when they shoot out, they hit the side of the pot and come up, and the idea is it gives the plant a bit of strength. It strengthens the stem up so it sort of holds itself up better, because we don't want, if we had them in the middle, the lily could get so high and snap off, whereas at least if they're here, they're up against the side of the pot,
Yeah,
so
you
they
get
should
some
hopefully
support.
be supported.
Yeah.
That's the idea with that. That's just a little one. These were just a couple, the pots that clearly like one bulb had just come up out the 3, so I'm just going to bung these ones in together, the second-hand ones. Someone, hopefully they'll end up being a nice and decent pot full. I'll just fill them all up. And it's just like that. I'll show you the new ones as well.
Curly Sue. I wonder who comes up with a name to some of these things. There's hundreds of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
Stargazer.
I have absolutely no idea why it's Curly Sue, but it is.
You can actually propagate them by scaling. Do you see how they've got scales
I
on?
I imagine you just peel.
Yeah, with a little bit of the base plate at the bottom, and then you put them into some sort of damp peat. You usually put we used to put copper fungicide over them, and then just put them in the airing cover for 6 weeks, and the scales really well. It's called scaling.
How long would it be before they flowered?
About 2 or 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, scaling. I don't bother with it because it's long term. It's not cost efficient for us to do it.
No.
We'll just get
Just get the bulbs like this because these will flower this year.
Yeah.
You're bound to get some blind, but that's why the bulbs, we tried to put them in odd numbers. So if there's 3, at least 2 come up, it looks alright.
Yeah.
Whereas if you put like 2 in of these,
Yeah.
it sounds silly, but it does. I just think it makes.
There's a lot of things like that, though, isn't there? That we tend to put one or two extra in, and then if there are any losses, it doesn't look too bad. Oh well, thank you, Thomas.
All right.
I suppose you're going home soon.
So yeah.
There's a definite winter feel about tonight, isn't there?
It's been a bit nippy today.
Yeah.
Compared to, it's been mild up to today, really.
Yeah. I'll see you next week.
Yeah, see you next week.
Assuming we're all still here. I'm just finishing up for the day now. If you have a look at what I've done today, I've only been able to do 3 troughs today. That one there is polystyrene box inside one of the fish boxes. I don't know, because we've been doing a bit of this every week. I don't know if I explained. I put some plastic over them to stop them drying out too quick. This one is just a freehand wire one. It's going to make a really big alpine trough. So I'm really happy with that one. There's just an old compost bag. Put that over. We turn them every day because the condensation gets on the bottom. You know, the wet out of the thing, and they just dry off. So you just turn them over. Now, this was the last one I did, and because I was trying to clear out the mixer, I probably made it a little bit too wet. A couple of tricks you can do. The thing about these Hypertufa troughs is that you want them to look natural. And with this one, I've made it lower at one end. It's a freehand one out of a wire frame. We make it lower at one end. If you make it too asymmetric, too symmetric, it just doesn't look right. You want it to look like it had another use. And another thing that you can do, if you see this end here, I've put a ridge in there. I've put an indentation as if it was like an overflow. That gives the impression that the trough had another use before we were using it. And that's so with it being shallower at one end and having this little indentation at that end, it makes it look like you're using something else other than making a purpose-built trough. That's what we were doing with stone troughs. I mean, they're just so hugely expensive. Something like this you'd probably pay £350 for in stone, whereas this is going to cost you 40 or 50, something like that. They are very, very good, but you must try and give it that impression that it had another use. I'm going home for my tea now because I'm hungry. Tuck them in, tell them a little night-night story. Come on, fuck off now. Good way. Oh, God.
This is the weirdest, strangest place This is a 800-year-old piece of woodland called Staverton Thicks, and apparently it's been unmanaged for 800 years, even though nearby woodland has seen a lot of renewal, refurbishment and so on. This has stayed as it was. It's mainly full of the weirdest shaped oak trees. I'm in a natural amphitheatre here. It's so odd. And what's happened is apparently over the hundreds of years, local villagers were allowed to come and lock branches from the trees, but they weren't actually allowed to cut the trees down. So what we've got is a whole load of ancient sort of oak trees that are really short and fat because a lot of the branches have gone, and birds over the years and other animals have dropped seeds into them, and we've ended up with kind of trees that have other trees growing out of them, and it creates this weird sort of sculpture park almost of mad looking trees. It's really beautiful, but it's kind of eerie. There's something, it's like some sort of ancient burial ground or something. Really, really strange. It's beautiful. Apparently the woods are full of deer, but actually they can probably see me, but I can't see them. There's lots of sort of fallen branches and things as well, and just everywhere you look, dead and tangled oaks and living oaks and oaks that are home to other trees. It's really weird. Look at this one. You couldn't have carved anything like that. It's so weird. And everywhere you look, there's another one there. Look. Strangely quiet. I mean, there is birdsong and everything, but not much. I'm going to get my proper camera out in a minute, get some shots of this. It's really strange. Okay, this is the last one, but I do like this one. Look, it's kind of got its own little shelter right inside it. And you can see things would grow in there. I mean, they already are. Amazing. Okay, I'm trying to find my way out of here now, having been in here for some time, and it's all very prehistoric and slightly weird. I mean, look at all this lot. Another old oak tree, and that tree's actually fallen over into it. It's like a little room up there. You could easily climb up there into that tree. Now I'm seeing Robin Hood or something. Oh, it's amazing. He's definitely looking at me. And over here, again, just a whole load of them. Once you could walk for miles, they're everywhere. And it's surrounded by fern and bracken, ferns mainly, all around there. It's got this kind of prehistoric feel. This is all sorts of fallen trees, I think. Definitely coming here again, but not at night. Still here. More of the same. Really beautiful. It's got a weird kind of spiritual feel about this place. It looks like a cat's head. Does anyone else see a cat's head? Or have I gone a bit weird? I'm gonna have a look at this one over here. It's like you could come in here and build a little house and live here and no one would ever find you. Although we are only about 200 yards from the road. So if they looked quite hard, they'd find you. They almost have faces. I really like it here. We've been trying to find a poem that might go with the video footage that we did down in Staverton Thicks, down in Suffolk over the summer. I'm standing in the woods just outside Eggleston Gardens. There's a road nearby, but it's still really peaceful here and very mild November day. The poem that I'm going to read is by Rudyard Kipling, and it's called The Way Through the Woods. You may well know it because I think it's taught in schools and has been for a few generations now. They shut the road through the woods 70 years ago. Weather and rain have undone it again, and now you would never know there was once a road through the woods before they planted the trees. It is underneath the coppice and heath and the thin anemones. Only the keeper sees that, where the ring-dove broods and the badgers roll at ease, there was once a road through the woods. Yet, if you enter the woods of a summer evening late, when the night air cools on the trout-ringed pools, where the otter whistles his mate, they fear not men in the woods, because they see so few. You will hear the beat of a horse's feet and the swish of a skirt in the dew, steadily cantering through the misty solitudes, as though they perfectly knew the old lost road through the woods. But there is no road through the woods.
Do you think? Do you? Do you think of anything? I mean, like, what's going through your head now? Like, rabbit? Rat? Gun? Because, like, yeah, I know that's all you live for. It's your favourite thing.